But here we go, guys. We are coming into the first qualifying round of the Hungarian Grand Prix. And not too long before we have TD joining me in the commentary box. All the key sessions, all the key options are up there. I think I'll just get the tyres up as well, because just like normally, a trend that we've been seeing in these sessions is that you tend to get tend to get some drivers who want to go through on the medium compound of tyre, and that typically means all dry are the screams in my ear. So, okay, that's interesting. So no wet running. That's going to be very interesting.
Very impressive your showing with the conditions, so I thought I'd let you do this thing.
Oh, that's very kind of you. And yeah, I plan not to disappoint. It's well, at least we got no problems with your sound. Oh, Tom is quiet. So let me just change that on the.
Quiet. Do I just need to speak a bit louder?
So hang on, let me sort this out. I think it's a potential source on the stream. Audio output capture. All right, just speak, TD.
Hello. Hello, good evening.
So there we go. That's should be able to hear TD just fine now. Hopefully, the sound is all okay on my end as long as TD talks. So that's not changed. Oh, lovely. So I'll just go up on the output, raise that by a few decibels.
Hi, hello.
There you go. I've turned up the sound on my stream, so they should be able to hear you now. Lower my voice a little. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's probably a little bit.
Yep.
I think that's a little bit better.
Yep. So I've lowered mine by about 10 decibels.
Yeah, you just take it quiet.
Music to your ears then, I guess.
It would, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I had peace and quiet last week.
So that's the reason why they just wanted a break from me. Fair enough, at least you're honest. As John now goes to the top. He sounds like he's being held captive inside the toilet. So I'll turn up.
I am being held captive.
But anywho, John set the opening pace with a 17.5. And that's the benchmark for people on the medium tyre. We've currently got Flew at the moment, who's sitting on the soft, so he's just about to start a lap himself. Longston is on a lap as well in the Aston, so but he's invalidated. So I think we'll go back to Flew, and we'll just see how the Frenchman in the French car is getting on.
We have got another Frenchman in NA now, but isn't racing today, which is unfortunate.
At least, hopefully, unlike the real life Grand Prix, there won't be a French civil war within the French team.
Good point.
Yeah, that was definitely not comfortable to watch if you're an Alpine fan. As we go back to the broadcast view for Flew, it's looking quite a tidy lap so far, isn't it? As he comes down to the third sector. This will be first sort of pace setters, but not necessarily the ones that will be the fastest times that we're going to see throughout this weekend. You will probably be looking at times within the low to high 1 minute 15s potentially for pole position. As we see Flew coming across the final sector, and he currently goes second. That's quite interesting. It probably wasn't the fastest lap that we've ever seen, considering John was able to set that on the medium tyre. But nevertheless, still got loads more to go. Yeah, good benchmark.
Oh, Colucci. Just coming on up to the end of sector 2, going for a spin. Very easy to do on that corner.
Oh, and he's been disqualified from the session. Just going the wrong way. That's a shame.
This game, man. This game. He was sat there trying to get out of the way, and then now it's disqualified him.
This is why EA. Do you know? Do you remember when they ended up, patting themselves on the back? Remember that massive award show? And stuff
Yeah.
like this, it just makes you think, God, you really are your judge, jury, and your own executioner.
Ooh. And now Longson's gone for a spin. Final corner.
And that's a shame as well, because he would have been able to set a lap time after that. Yeah, he set 1:59, so he's obviously made a couple of mistakes throughout that round. However, not the end of the world. I'm sure, without a doubt, he will bounce back. Let's see who else is out on the time lap. As John sets another fastest benchmark, which is a 17.2. Let's go on board
Good on
with
the
Greg.
mediums, that.
That's not bad on the mediums at all. Oh, you're right. Let's see how Greg's doing. It's quite tidy, but this is definitely slower than Flu, so I think Greg may have had a bit of an issue going through his time. So it's not not the most convincing lap from the McLaren. Yellow's in sector 1, so I'm guessing that's just John getting out of the way. Who else can we go with on a timed lap? Let's go on board with the championship leader. Do you want to take him through this one, TD?
I will, let me get to him. There we go. Going through turn 2 then. Take a bit of curve on the outside, but it won't affect him too much. Through the flat turn 3 then, and it's flat out all the way up to turn 4. And with no assist, this is an extremely hard corner, as it's hard to see where to turn in, but it gets it very nicely. Misses the apex curb of 5, as it can spin you. Bit too much curb there going on the outside of the chicane, which put him off for the first part. Nicely through the second flowing S. And taking a lot of speed there through the quick right-hander, through the end of sector 2. It's a 54.9, which is quite good, I think. And then through 2 very tricky corners. Very easy to lose the back end, lose it on traction. Through the first one nicely, and then through the final corner. Short sits up to 5th. Opens the DRS, and he goes fastest for the time being with a 16.7.
It's a fairly decent benchmark, considering it's the first qualifying session and the track hasn't quite rubbed in yet. We'll certainly see these tracks get a little bit faster, but as for now, it's a very familiar sight on top of the timesheets, as 10.10 currently goes fastest. But as we know, Hungary can be a very chaotic track, so it just depends on what happens during the race. I think Wiggles is out on a time lap himself in the Mercedes. So I think we'll go on
I don't
board.
know whether you've seen. Joseph is on the hard tyres.
Eh?
And Joseph said to me, he's going to try and get through to Q2 on the hard tyres.
That's brave. Well, to be fair, his job has been made a little bit easier considering Colucci's now been disqualified, because well done, EA. Is there a forfeit if he doesn't get it?
We can make one.
Go on, I'll leave that to you.
I'll think of a forfeit, but that's a good time in the hard.
18 dead. That isn't bad on the hards, considering the delta between the hard and the medium is probably a bit more than I would say between the medium and the soft.
Impressive.
That is impressive, you're right. So Wiggles goes third with a 17.6. I think Smaller Smiley is next to come across the line. He's doing a comparatively fast time. It's a 17.9, so only 0.3 off of what Wiggles did, but Smaller Smiley is always up there.
Well, we know that from last week with him winning Singapore. Good strategy, good pace, and he was there to be in the end.
Deton goes 7th with an 18.4 in the Red Bull. His time will definitely come. The Slap Bus, 16.8. Not bad. Sun God says quali ban next week if he doesn't get through on the hards.
I agree.
Ah,
The third wheel looks to be on a good lap. He's on the 2 touchdown on 10. Oh, bit of a snap there as well. Oh, what affects it? That won't be good for his time.
but he goes
He
fourth.
goes fourth.
A little bit far off from what 1010 was able to do, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. I think he'll certainly get through. John's retired from the session, so he's confident that his time will certainly go the distance. Wiggles comes into the pits. I think Kimi is out on a time lap in the Ferrari. That gets me feeling a little nostalgic there, saying Kimi in a Ferrari. Actually, no, I think he's got the glitch.
I'd love to see Kimi in a Ferrari again.
I'd just love to see Kimi in Formula 1, let alone in a Ferrari.
True, good point.
Did you follow his NASCAR race recently?
I didn't know.
No, it looks like he's having fun there. Slapboss has come in and retired. I think Jensen Button was in that race as well.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I have to say, with the way, though you were mentioning about the entrance into turn 3, the long left-hander getting onto the curbs, I have to say, with all these drivers being able to do that and still keep the car under control, I would struggle. So I have to say, fair play to everyone who's been able to make that work.
I saw that jersey. I was on board with it and I saw him in black here.
Oh dear, that's not good for Deflated. 4th place could be at risk in the championship.
Oh,
Greg's still on a timed lap. Let's see how he does. It's 55.7, so he's more or less on pace with the fast and medium runners.
it's about 8/10 off a 10 at the minute. So if you keep this up, it'll be a mid-17, which should be alright for Greg at the minute.
So close between 5th and 7th. But he goes 10th with that time. And that's slower than Joseph Hales on the hard. So I have to say, he could pull this off.
Keeping his own, isn't he?
But enough, he'll either go... might have to do a 2-stop strategy in the race, but it all just depends how this goes up. It's not impossible to make the...
Well, he'll have picked the harder strategy when picking tyres, so we'll have 2 sets of hards, so he should be alright there.
He's hoping for a lot of safety cars then, isn't he? Cash is reserving in the Red Bull. That guy is on an outlap in the Williams. As we
T-Bone goes 4th.
Not a bad lap from indeed, but oh, so he's gone conservative on his tyres. Which I think he's just flexing at this point, isn't he? In the middle sector. But let's see how he does in the final sector. There's a little bit wide on entry to that left-hander. But let's see how he takes the final right-hander. It looks very calm and tidy. A little bit wide, but he comes across the line and he improves to a 17.4. So 0.2 extra buffer, considering they are slightly more worn mediums. Decent lap there from Wiggles.
That guy looks to be struggling slightly.
Yeah, 27.8 for a first sector. I think it's about 0.3 behind what Wiggles was able to do, and he was not exactly the fastest runner. Yeah, so 56 dead, so
That's 1.1 off the 10 at the minute.
that is not good. And with only 1.5 minutes to go, that guy is really up against it here. I don't think he's going to have enough time for a proper cooldown lap. What does he do as he comes across the line? It's slower than Hales.
Could be a bit of under pressure.
Oh, absolutely. Kimi's invalidated his lap in the Ferrari. Asperfrog, I think, has just started his. Cache is out, has invalidated his time. So, I think for now, let's go on board with the Aston Martin, shall we? debomber tyres. I think it's safe to say he'll be safe with that run. Yeah, with Cache in the pits. Yeah, I think Hales has done it.
He has done it.
He's done it. He has successfully gotten through to Q2 on a hard set of tyres. It's fun to watch, isn't it?
Everyone that's above Padge is through. It's just who's going to be out in terms of Kimmich and Asperfog.
Well, Asperfrog is about a second up in his best. He needs more time than that if he's going to be able to get through. He comes across the line and he goes 15th. What's Kimmich able to do? He's 2/10 up so far on his best. Let's stay on board with the Ferrari to see what happens in terms of Asperfrog's fate.
Oh, a little bit wide there.
8/10 up though. He's on target, isn't he? He's on target to go ahead of Asperfrog.
Bit of wheel spin there.
Looks like the car's been involved in some gravel at some point. But anyways, the final corner, very wide on that left-hander. But I think Kimmich has done just enough as he comes across the line. And yes, he has done. So the Ferrari goes through. And Asperfrog, sadly, just could not do enough to save his qualifying session.
Only 300ths of a second.
That is very close. He'll be kicking himself after that one. But there we go, guys. That is the end of the first round of qualifying for Hungary.
I'm done.
So I'll just take you through qualifying one, and all of the drivers that sadly have been eliminated. So we have Asperfrog, who has been eliminated. We have Cache, who's, I think it's the first time I've seen him in no assist. He's out in 17th. And Colucci, sadly, was disqualified because of EA. So EA have done an absolutely amazing job with this game, and here's hoping F123 won't be anywhere near as bad.
We shouldn't get our hopes up there, should we?
I mean, they'll probably still throw in supercars. Did you see the teaser that Charles Leclerc put across his socials?
No, I didn't see it.
Well, basically, it was almost like a tease for what would have been, you know, the F1 life. Basically, it was like it's basically him in like a very expensive sweater on the back with a supercar, and it tagged EA Sports in it. So if that's not a teaser for F1 life, I don't know what is. Sebastian Vettel was a great driver, so Kimi in his old age would have struggled. Then again, Fernando Alonso would have something to say about that.
Oh, I wish Seb was Aston Martin there.
I do, but I'll happily take Fernando Alonso. So I'll just take you through Kimi's lap in the Ferrari. It opens up the DRS and comes down the pit lane straight. And this is a track where you don't need a lot of top speed, but you do need plenty of downforce. Drops down to second gear for the first corner. Straighten up the rear end and make sure a little bit of wheel spin there as he gets out of the corner. The second DRS zone open there. There's not a lot of places to overtake on this track. So qualifying position is absolutely key. And it looks very tidy so far from Ferrari coming into the first sector. It's a 27.6, but it goes wide, and that's going to ruin his time indefinitely. But he hasn't invalidated, so we'll stick on board with him and see how the rest of his lap gets on. Into the twisty Mickey Mouse sector here. As you can see on the onboard shot, it is so tight. There's barely any road for any cars to go off, so this is why overtaking across the track is so difficult, and Kimi did not need that slide. He's only done a 55.8, which is slower than the medium runners in the first qualifying session, so don't expect a time in the low 1:17s for sure. I think we're looking to get, oh, and another back end steps out again from Kimi. Very scruffy lap so far from the Ferrari, and I think this will be a 1:18 at least with all those mistakes. And yeah, that's the opening benchmark, 1:18.6 there for Kimi. Not a great opening benchmark, has to be said, from the Ferrari. I can tell that 1010 is your biggest fan by this chat,
I know,
TD.
he loves me. I could time him out right now, but I get told off.
Oh, that's a shame. D-Bomb goes fastest with a 17.2. Many other drivers coming through to set times. Flew with an 18 dead. Who's next to come across the pit lane, the start-finish straight? Smaller Smiley's still got a lap to go. 1010's just coming out. Longston's trying to get out of the way. It looks like it's D-Tom, the next one to come out. But with a 15.8 for first sector. Oh, it looks like I think he might have backed off.
That's on a half decent first sector.
We'll go on board with the man who this is the man that we have to thank really for IRL being as tall as it is. We're a great team that manage everything behind the scenes, but with Padge, there would be no IRL. This does a 55.2.
Good lap so far.
Pretty decent, has to be said. Comes across the final sector. One long corner after another. Goes in quite early there. And goes out. Keeps the car relatively in high gear. And Padge goes second with that time. Pretty strong lap. Very strong. Still got Deaton on a time lap, and him still showing is a 56.8, so it's not going to be the fastest that we've ever seen. However, I got a feeling this guy's steadily improving, so we'll give him every bit of praise that we see. Smaller Smiley goes fastest with a 17 dead. I think the Slap Bus is behind as well on the time lap himself. Deaton goes... Wiggles does a 16.4. Slapbus 17.6. So we're starting to get closer to the 15s, aren't we, TD?
If we get a 15, I'll be impressed.
Well, 27.2 so far for 1010 in the first sector. Let's go on board with the Williams then.
The first sector.
54.2. That is unbelievably quick.
That's 7 tenths from what I did in Q1.
So yeah, I think we're... What you know what you were saying there about us getting into the 15s?
Yeah, I think it might happen now.
Yeah. Let's see what he does. It comes across the line. He just misses out. But he goes 3/10 faster than Wiggles. And the Flying Scotsman, once again, goes to the top of the timesheets.
The Scottish psychopathic tenfold.
I wasn't going to go quite that far, but hey, it is a democracy after all. So Joe Hales has gone onto the softs, so he's chickened out on getting through on hards.
That is terrible.
Yeah, throw him in the bin.
Quali bag. Right, Detail 1 Q1 tyres.
Q1 tyres. Okay, so he's still got plenty of time to find.
But it goes third.
There's a bit more of a gap between these top runners, isn't there? 27.3, so very good first sector there from Joe Hales.
I've seen Joe just doing some impressive times when I've seen him doing practice today and yesterday, so I think he's a little bit of an underdog.
Getting in the sweats before this show starts then, eh?
Absolutely. Oh, that was very committed.
54.5, so he's 3/10 down on 10.10. However,
a bit wide as well.
Yeah, that would have cost him a little bit of time. I think he might just pop this into a net third place.
He does. I mean, that was definitely timing. That was what we saw through the third to last corner.
Yeah, I have to say, very good lap from Joseph Hales, who certainly are in contention for a podium with with harder tyres that he's got to run with.
What an improvement though, and it's actually 1.5 seconds faster. We ignore that the tyres are different, and we just say that he's faster.
Well, I think that just goes to show how brilliant his running in Q1 actually was, doesn't it?
It was a good lap.
It was a very good lap.
Oh, Greg there.
What's happened to Greg?
Just very marginally going off the track at the...
Oh, he's invalidated.
Yeah, it's such an easy corner to do it on that he did it, that sweeping right hand of a fast one. So easy to do.
You think you can go all out and attack that corner, can't you? But it's not very forgiving.
It just tightens up on exit, so it's just so hard to keep it in.
And all you want to do is just floor the throttle. See Aston and everyone trying to get out of each other's way. How's Kimmy doing for us? Oh, and Kimmy's had a moment. He goes off just before the end of Sector 2. I think it's just like you said, TD. It's so easy to go off at that point.
I think it's interesting from Joseph at the minute is he's doing a push cooldown and another push, so that definitely means his first lap he had more fuel in, so that's gonna compromise his time slightly.
Yeah, that'll be a couple of tenths handicap for sure. Add to that, potentially the mistake that he made. He could be on for a pole position here as D-Bomb goes 5th for the 17th flat. Strong lap from him, it has to be said. Blue was on a time lap, but he's invalidated. That guy's on an out lap, and so is John. Wiggles is on an out lap. I don't think who else is on a timed run. Oh, Joseph Hale's actually gone a little bit faster than his... Yeah, a little bit faster than his first time. Slap Boss goes into 3rd. As Mercedes gets out of the way, and I have to be honest... Oh, he was just getting out of the way. I don't think he was going into the pits. Let's see what he does. He goes 3rd with that, so he finds a few extra hundredths. But so far, it's still 10-10 clear of the field. Wiggles is next. Let's see what the McLaren does.
I had to go on mute then, sorry.
That's alright.
I am watching the Leeds game at the same time, so no.
Of course he is. Mr. Wiggles has actually gone down in the first sector there by a tenth on his best. So still more time to find. Let's see how he does in the second sector. It's yellows everywhere as everyone tries to stay out of each other's way. Like I said, very tight circuit where it's easy to be impeded. However, everyone's doing a remarkably good job, it has to be said. Slappy is retired, and Wiggles is now got a 10th up now. So he's found a little bit more time in the second sector. But let's see what kind of extra buffer he can get over the rest of the competition. Very steady Sector 3 so far. And he throws it now into the final corner. And Wiggles speeds to the line. It's not going to be in the 1 minute 15s, but it is going to be a 1 minute 16.1. So that was a brilliant final sector. It looks like he's found a mountain of time there. John goes 4th with a 16.4. And for his first lap, that was really, really good. Minute and a half to go.
And I tell you who's struggling again. That guy.
Yeah, it's only a 27.5 for a first sector for him. Joseph Hales retires from the session. I think he's comfortably through. It's 1 minute 18 is the current benchmark for 10th place, but I think we'll see times tumbling way down at the moment. Hopefully that guy can hook it all up in these last few sectors. It's a 55 flat, so he's 8/10
Not too
behind.
bad.
Yeah, he's 8/10 behind what 10:10 was able to do. He should get into about a low 1 minute 17 with the way he's going. But currently, you see he's running out of energy, so that will slow him down for sure. He comes up to the line, and it's a 17 flat. So, but it's only good enough for 9. This is going to be close. .27.6 for Padge. Smaller Smiley comes up to the line. He does a 7... Oh no, he's actually starting a lap. I beg your pardon. Kimmy's also on a timed lap. Deton on a timed lap. Greg has retired, so he will be out. John also retires from the session.
Ooh,
Oh,
Kimmy.
Oh, that is a shame, and that's curtains for the Ferrari. So, that'll be it for Kimmy. He's out. I think Longson just got over the line before anybody else did. I think. No, it was Flew that was the last one to come across the line. Padge comes into the
But
pits.
he isn't pushing at the minute, it's Flew. That's Flew out because he's not pushing on this lap.
Ah, that is. Yeah, Flew is out. You're right. He's completely out of energy. No more battery. Smaller Smiley's actually gone a 10th up on his best, so he's going to get himself into relative safety. Padge is coming to the pits, so I believe he is out. Smaller Smiley goes 6th, so very good improvement there. Blue, as we said, is out.
It's all on Deton whether Padge is going to go out.
This would be amazing if he could get through. He goes up to the line, but it's an 18.5, so sadly not there. That's a shame. I think that almost seals qualifying. Johnson has invalidated, so Longson rather has invalidated, so he's out. amalgamation of people I've been following here. So yeah, there we go. So we have Flew, Greg, Deton, Kimmy, and Longson all out of Q2. So to go through into Q3, we have 1010, Wiggles, Hales, Slapbus, John, Smiley, Deflated Wee, D-Bomb, That Guy, and Padge. It's very fast field, isn't it, for pole position?
And it always is in this tier.
So there we have it, folks. That's the end of Q2. It's getting much closer now where you can see where the times are. So, out of the running, it's Flew 11th in the Alpine, Greg is 12th in the McLaren, Deton 13th in the Red Bull, Kimmy is 14th in the Ferrari, and Longson couldn't get a representative time in, so he starts in 15th place. Padge, That Guy, D-Bomb, Deflated Wee, Smiley, John, Slapbus, Joseph Hales, Wiggles, and 1010 all through to the final shootout for pole position. And with 15 seconds roughly to go before we get onto that final session, this is where qualifying matters more than most tracks. I mean, it matters most, particularly on a track like Monaco. But this is one of those tracks you've got to get the lap right. And it's very, very tricky to do so.
1010, then Wiggles, then John, then Deflated, then D-Bomb.
Do you want to take us through 1010's lap?
I will, with the Smelly Boy up as DRS. As much straight line speed as possible. Braking between the 150, hitting that apex lovely. Good traction up as the DRS again. Then down to turn 2, a short straight. I've used that curb a lot again, and this is the apex slightly on the inside, but it's not too much of a corner where you have to hit the apex. Going up to the first sector, and it's 27.3, so slightly down on his Q2 time, which is a bit expected through from turn 2. A little bit scruffy through the chicane, but still very solid. Nice flip through the second F there. Coming through with fast sweeping right. Oh, and a big snapper oversteer there. And that's losing him even more time. A 54.3. Just slightly down on his Q2 time again. But we know there's definitely going to be time in this for 10-10. Coming around the final corner now. Looking like a solid time anyway. And what's it going to be? 16-0. And we know there's time in that.
And Wiggles goes second with a 16.2. And like you said, there is time in that. And we could see someone going into the 15s as John goes only a 17.4. D-Bomb goes third with a 17 dead. Joseph Hale's now third with a 16.4. And Slapbus goes second with a 16.2. Deflated Wee, I think, has made a mistake, so he does a 33 flat. Who's next to come round? It would have been Padge, but Padge is in the mud.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, and a bit wide for smaller.
It's a 54.7. So he matched 10-10 in the first sector, but lost 4 tenths behind. He's backed off. He's given up the lap.
Trying to save as much DRS as possible. That's why he's in neutral.
Huh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, it's a weird thing that you can do. But he still ain't gonna have the most optimal DRS this lap.
As all the main runners come back into the pits after setting their benchmark times. But yeah, that's a hack I never even knew about with this game. And I claim to be a fan.
A bit wide there for turn 2 for smaller.
Yeah.
Not going to be his best first sector that he's ever done.
No, he's 3 tenths down. Tyres must have gotten cold. His Urs will die soon as well. I think he's probably better off coming in and boxing.
Well, he has got time to come in again and go for another lap.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
So he might just want to get the delta.
His benchmarks for Sector 1 and 2 are okay. Joseph Hale says horrible lap, 2 huge snaps. Smaller Smiley comes through. And it's a 17-2. And that guy leaving it until the last minute to come out and box. Padge is invalidated again. Deflated Wee still out as well. He now does a 16.6. So he's obviously found some time on his second run. That is interesting. I think maybe he's got more softs to spare. I don't know.
I just don't want to be in traffic, maybe. Evening, Novatech.
How you doing, Novatech, mate?
Well, I actually thinking about it. No, he didn't do Q1 on medium today.
I think no, I don't think he did.
No, he was on soft money, so probably got 2 unless he's got softer. See what I can do then.
Alright. You want me to take him through this lap?
Go for it, mate.
Absolutely. So there he goes down the first corner. Looks very steady. So once again, he takes that extra bit of outside curve again. A little bit tidier coming across the long left-hander. And now down into the straight. But let's see what he does at the end of the first sector. It's a 27.2 and he's a 10th up in his best. So currently he's on target to get into the 15s. Doesn't take too much curve coming across the right-hander here. So he's in relatively good nick coming into sector 2. Take probably a little bit too much curve there across the right hand and then into the left. But now into the long left, the long right, the real Mickey Mouse second sector, where you've really got to have this car hooked up. It's a place that really rewards cars with that extra downforce and chassis balance. What does he do coming across? He's only 200s up though, so lost a little bit of time compared to his best in the first sector. In the second sector, rather. Another long right-hander. It's hard to imagine how this track doesn't burn out your tyres as quickly as it goes down into the final corner now. This could be the lap that sees 10-10 going into the 15s. Has he been able to do it? Yes! He does it by just under a tenth of a second. So now, with the last few minutes to go in the session, the gauntlet has well and truly been thrown.
3/10 of a gap. That's quite a big difference, really.
Yeah, Thomas Ronhart called. He wants his pace back. Probably a bit controversial joke there for myself, but I'm sure this is all taken with jest. Oh, CT's here as well. How you doing? And congratulations on your win in 82, buddy. Really, really strong drive.
If 10-10 has got the tyres, he's got time to get out again.
Depends how much energy he's got, though. Let's go back to him.
Yeah, if he's got the tyres, if he has got the time to come in and go back out. He's going to be extremely tired, but he has got the time.
I'm not sure he'll make it. I wish you
If
could
he
do...
can get out before 1:30, then he'll be fine.
That's going to be so close. He's in a Williams, though, so it'll take him ages to get through, and he certainly would have got a warning for that. But in the meantime, we have the Wigglenator to watch, and no, I will not be using that one again.
Please don't use that again.
Down to fourth gear for the first sector, more or less on par with what 10-10 was able to do. Now climbs upward to the long left-hander, his next big challenge. Unlike 10-10, he doesn't take too much of the outside curb, does compromise his apex speed, however it does feel a little bit tidier, and he's backed off. He's backed off the lap. So it looks like we're on board with Slapbus now, as he comes up to the end of the first sector. It's a 27.1. That's the fastest that we've seen so far.
Whoa.
Could we have a surprise pole sitter here in this AlphaTauri?
Did run wide though, and that's not going to lose time very good. 10-10 is coming out now.
It's 1 minute 15.16, so he's got to get a move on if he's going to get over the line, because this guy has gone wide. It's a 54.1. He's 4/10 up on his best. How he didn't invalidate there, I do not know. However, we could see a dark horse emerging here, potentially for the win, as Slapbus takes the final corner. 4/10's currently up on his best. He's been the fastest laps that we've seen so far in this qualifying session, and he goes to the top with a 15.8. What a brilliant lap there. Absolutely
Very
brilliant.
Good. Don't look like the people behind him there.
Yeah. Joseph Hales has backed off to get his time in. D-Bomb is also starting his lap. And that guy's still in the pit, so he's electing not to set a time at all.
I think 10-10 is just about going to reach the line.
Yellow's in sector 3, but we can't see the timing screens. Guess we'll just have to wait and see. Oh yeah, he's just going to make it. He is just going to make it now.
3 seconds.
John goes 9th. As you know, he goes 3rd for that time, but that's it for the McLaren.
Miles Smiley's next. Nearly 6 attempts up on his lap time.
So could be on for 5th and 6th potentially, depending how all the other drivers improve.
Yeah.
16.5.
Slapbus is in the pits. Oh, Mr. Wiggles!
Oh, he's just lost it. Hopefully that doesn't get into Flate's way. He's invalidated.
And so is Joseph Hales.
Wow.
D-Bomb isn't on a time. Padge isn't on the time. So the only one that can do it on Slapbus at the minute is 10:10.
So let's go on
But
board with the Williams.
he's on the 50-second lap already, so he's made a mistake.
And that's it. So Slapbus in the AlphaTauri has taken pole position here. And that is a surprise, as we were expecting probably a bit more of a dominant performance from 1010. But we all love a bit of a surprise.
Wiggles throttle isn't hitting 100%.
I've had that problem before. Sometimes I go down the straight and I think, when I don't necessarily have that much downforce, and it's like the throttle is about 95% there. That's a shame for Joseph Hales, but at least you got through to Q1 with only hards. I'm going to keep bringing that up. Here we have, and to be honest, I think that avatar sums up just how surprised as I am in that qualifying session. We have Slapbus, who has taken pole position, ahead of 1010 in second. John is third in the McLaren in third. Mr. Wiggles fourth in the Mercedes. Joseph Hales fifth in the Alpine. Smaller Smiley sixth in the Alfa Romeo. Deflated Wee seventh for the Haas. And Toby Bomb is eighth rather in the Red Bull. Padge is ninth in the Alfa Romeo, and that guy did not set a lap time in Q3 and rounds off the top 10 in 10th place. 5-minute break. Should we talk about the featured driver?
Yes, who we're doing? I'll give you an option. We can do deflated or smaller.
I think I did deflated Wee last. Yeah, I did deflated Wee last stream, so I just forgot to tick the box. Apologies. So
we'll go for smaller because I think his occupation is very interesting.
So Smaller Smiley, 28 years old from Sheffield, and he is a solutions architect. Now, for that kind of job, you're designing mainly client-based solutions, so whether it's through software or through Wi-Fi ports, that's really, really good. Hobbies, he plays Pokemon trading card game competitively, so that's interesting. Like, the Pokemon TCG is a little bit niche compared to the games, but however, there's nothing wrong with a bit of Pokemon. He uses...
Can't go wrong with a bit of Pokemon.
Absolutely. So he uses the Thrustmaster Ferrari SF1000, the LED screen. I think the one that Arava has. So very popular with that. Favourite driver, Sebastian Vettel. I mean, who doesn't love Seb? His favourite track is Singapore. I mean, clearly, based on your performance last time. Racing strengths are race pace and clean driving. No time penalties at incident strategy and tyre management. Season 4 goals are some wins or podiums, so he's been very consistent, and he wants his rivals are pretty much the front runners. He wants to hunt them down, as he says. Fight and talk.
Can you see my message next to that?
Your message next to that.
Next to thingy, the rival.
No, I can't see it.
Oh, I just put a sparky smell.
Very good. Yeah, we'll do that one more time before we get through into the qualifying session. Well, the race, rather.
Just a quick reminder.
Just a quick reminder for everybody of my face. And and also with the standings, here we have 10-10 in the lead, 86 points ahead of John in the McLaren. Wiggles is third, who is only a point behind John, so the fight is very much on for the silver medal here. Deflated Weed didn't have the best qualifying, but sits in fourth place with 99 points. IIRL, the reserve for Red Bull, not racing this race, sitting on 89 points in the Red Bull. That guy, starting in 10th, is sitting on 80 points in the second Williams. E.T. Smiley in the Alfa Romeo, which I'm assuming is Smaller Smiley, 75 points, so not too far behind that guy. Flew is on 63 points in the Alpine, followed by Joseph Hales, who is 20 points behind. And that's a case of the numbers not telling the full story, because we know how quick he is. And Top Gun, a man who's only done 2 races and is sitting 10th in the standings. So just speaks volumes about how much of a super sub he was, doesn't it? So going through into the constructor standings now. So currently we've got 8 rounds to go, with round 11 about to get underway. Williams are 137 points ahead of Mercedes in the constructor standing with 288 points to 151. So 10-10, his run of consistency is really helping that team. McLaren are sitting third, 3 points behind Mercedes. So it looks like McLaren and Mercedes are not just going against each other for the drivers, but also for the constructors. Haas are sitting fourth with Deflated Wee and Richie M with 124 points to their name. Alpine is sitting fifth with Flew and Joseph Hales, are currently above Oracle Red Bull Racing with Deton in there. Alfa Romeo with Smiley and Pajestic are currently sitting in seventh place, with Aston Martin in eighth with Asperfrog and Longson. Third is Mr. Colucci and Sano in the Ferrari, and Alpha Tauri currently sitting 10th with Damon and Cache in the points with only 9 points. But that could all change because we currently have an Alpha Tauri sitting on pole position underway, and hopefully no formation lap should be on this time with everybody aligning onto the grid as they are. And here we go with 5 red lights coming on. Slapbusters on pole position. Oh, 10-10 looks to have an issue. It's like
10-10 drive-through.
He's got a drive-through for that issue. It's lights out and away we go. And what has happened there? Poor connectivity issues. I don't know what's going on, but the championship leader already in the wars for something that probably wasn't even his fault. Deflated Wee up into fourth now in the house with Joseph Hales not too far alongside him. Wiggles has dropped down to sixth, but Deflated Wee has gone wide once again. And the Red Bull of D-Bomb is up into seventh with that guy up into eighth. Padge and Small Smiley have dropped down with Kimi all the way back to 16th in the Ferrari. But 10-10, crucially, has a drive-through penalty, which I assume is connectivity issues.
He might have just released his clutch too early as well, we don't know, but that isn't going to help 10-10. He has to serve that within the next 3 laps.
He was ghosted up at that point though, so I don't know whether it was the AI taking over his car, as that guy struggles against the Alfa Romeo of Smaller Smiley, and he's gone down. I think he probably gained a little bit of an advantage there coming through that final corner. But however, everyone is relatively round without a major incident, but a drive-through penalty, however, for 10-10. As that guy comes into the pit, so he must have damage of some kind. Slapbus sets the fastest lap. Oh, I forgot to set on the tyres. That guy's left the session, so a connectivity issue. So looks like everyone's on Virgin Wi-Fi at the moment. Not quite sure what's happening here.
Don't get me started on Virgin Wi-Fi.
It feels like the 24 hours of Le Mans virtual, doesn't it? First we see ahead is 10-10. And he'll be going to probably about lap 20, 21 or so before he comes in and pits. But he'll have that drive-through penalty to serve, which crucially means there's a yellow flag in the first sector, and that would be Cash is out. So he...
This fine though, he's pulled out 6 tenths to start busting there.
Well, he must be back in control of the car then. Because if it was AI, he would be going massively slower. But we have to think realistically, this is the fight for the lead. Because 10-10 will have to serve a drive-through penalty, even though it's a bit harsh, even though it's not necessarily his fault. 10-10 sets the fastest lap with a 19.999. Honestly, could you?
So satisfying.
It really is satisfying. Now, to be fair, if it was a 1 minute 20 flat 000, that would be even more satisfying. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, both are equivalent to each other.
6 in one, half a dozen of the other. Let's just say that, right? And 10-10, obviously knowing he's got that penalty, he's pulling nearly 4 seconds on the field at the moment. So he's almost going to have to take the Lewis Hamilton 2021 approach, where he's going to have to come in and make his way all the way back to the front from the back. First, you see John up into third. I think if anything goes on with the rest of the field, TD, let me know. As you see John ahead of Mr. Wiggles, but not too far behind Slapbus. With medium tyres, you think you'll have to clear him as fast as you can.
Asthma Frog.
Yeah, just saw Asthma Frog has made a mistake in his Aston. Stay on board with the leaders.
10-10 into the pits.
So there we go. So that's 10-10 serving his drive-through penalty. I'm going to go on board with John, however. Slapbus covers the inside. And the McLaren is right with him. Looks like he's sticking round to the outside. But now with the inside and DRS, it looks like he'll have this move done. And with that, John looks like he's gone through right into the lead. But Slapbus is still fighting him. The AlphaTauri still comes out of the end of the sector in the lead. So brilliant defense given he was on the harder tyre. Slapbus does not want to give this win away easily. And he knows that for every lap John is behind, that's less time he's going to have to pull a gap with those medium tyres. It's going to come to Slapbus the longer he can keep the McLaren behind.
First time penalty over race for Aston Frog, and I wouldn't be surprised if that isn't the first.
Oh, it certainly won't be the last.
Oh, he's going to the inside.
There he goes. He's made the move stick. No, he hasn't. He just will not give it up. He has to, though.
Oh, just right on the back of Wiggles there.
Let's see if the AlphaTauri can fight back. He won't have as much grip as John on the medium tyre, but he's got DRS open as the Aston makes yet another mistake.
Looks to the inside, but John just has that grip to keep it.
So lets him know he's there, but he's still behind him.
Straight just isn't long enough for...
No. It's not the best track for racing. However, somehow it puts on some absolute bangers of races, doesn't it?
Hinton now up into 13th, past Colucci and Longson.
It's now got Kimi to go in the Ferrari, so he'll be next. But as we've seen in previous races so far, it's the top 5 separated by, well, nothing. But John's obviously getting away on those medium tyres, so you expect the strategy slowly coming to him. A safety car would ruin it for him now. However, it took him 3... He's still got 10-10 behind him, though.
I won't be surprised if 10-10 gets past there. He's all over the back of Kimi. Kimi looks to be struggling on traction, which is kind of what we saw in qualifying.
Yeah, he hasn't looked happy with the balance of his car at all. Let's see what the Williams does. He's not close enough in here, and this is not a track where it's easy to overtake. However, he's got a pretty good line. He knows he's got to go for it now, and he is going for it. He goes down to the inside. That is a very late move.
Oh, I thought contact was happening then.
I thought that was contact, but Kimi's not giving this up. He'll have the inside line coming into the next corner. But he's backed out of it.
That was way too tight for comfort.
That was very close, it certainly has to be said. But Kimi's right with the Aston now. And they touch, and a little bit of contact there, and... Oh,
Kimi's round, I think.
Yeah, he's round. It's just 2 into 1. And Colucci's got...
And Longson.
Yeah, it was that Kimi that hit Longson. So, it just shows 2 into 1 will not go, especially at that part of the track. And already John is... Ferrari been way too painful this year. I'm talking about in real life F1, by the way. And so now the next fight here is between Wiggles. Between 2nd down to 5th is separated by about 4 to 5 tenths apiece. So John already getting that far away ahead on his medium tyres. He needs to build as much of a gap as possible. And this is a track where more than most, where the difference in tyre life means so much more. I mean, we've had some brilliant races over here where if you had different tyres, it's not impossible to pass, but there's a certifiable difference between each of the cars. And John is certainly making it work for now. Wiggles goes wide. And that's another time penalty for Asthma There's 3 seconds on the clock for him now. So I said to TD that it wouldn't be the last, and funny enough,
it was Asthma again.
Yeah, it was Asthma again. Wiggles looks closer than ever, doesn't he? But he's not going to go for the move now. He's set himself up quite well, but he goes a little snap of oversteer there. It's so tricky to overtake on this track. 2 seconds now, the gap between John and Slapbus.
Hunter on the back too. Right now. Well, I think he's going to go for a move on the inside.
There he goes. He goes for it. And
Very
that's the championship leader back up into 11th place as Cash has a moment spinning off in his Alpha Tauri. We're on lap 8 so far. It feels like this race has gone somewhat quick as Colucci's got damage as he has
had a good start. He's up into the points.
Oh, that's good on him. He started in 13th and he's now up to 10th and he's holding up. He's holding on now. He's obviously got Padge to catch up with, but he's got 10-10 behind him, and I have to say, I think 10-10 is a little bit more hooked up at the moment. He's going through the field so far like a hot knife through butter. Won't be long, I think, before he passes the Red Bull, and he has a horrible corner there.
When would you ever hear this, or Williams overtaking a Red Bull?
2014, probably. 2.4 seconds the gap now between the leaders. He's out the DRS zones, but we know that 10-10 can make some moves work coming into this sector here. Smaller Smiley gets... Yep, he gets the next time penalty, but he's gonna... He's gonna hold off there. Oh! Looks like a little massive snap there. So he knew he wasn't going for the move, so he was trying to be a bit cautious, but sadly just didn't quite work for him as the gap at the front has come down between Wiggles and Slapbus to just over 0.3 of a second. It says to 4th, goes up to 4 tenths now as soon as I say that. Well done, game. And the more these two fight each other, the easier life is going to be for John, who sets another fastest lap, and Wiggles isn't going to overtake here. However, if he can set him up quite nicely, coming down to the second DRS zone potentially, then he could make this work. You have to be so careful with these cars, and with corners like this, the best thing you can do with all these DRS zones is just try and save as much energy as you can, because the way these drivers tend to drive, and I'm sure you notice this as well, TD, is that they use a lot of their energy in the opening of the lap, but they generally run around almost near empty, just trying to straddle that line between us. What? And you're right, 10-10 is out. Just seeing it on the screen there. And what a surprise that is. And no surprise, I think is that a full safety car that's been deployed? It must be a full safety car.
It is.
And 10-10, the World Championship leader, is out of the race.
And I tell you who this benefits massively, John.
Oh yeah, now it does.
Put on some hard tyres and get to the end now.
He'll lose less time than others. Slapbus has come in. All the top leaders are coming in. So they're going to have to go probably to a 2-stop.
They're going to have to go a long way on the mediums.
Yeah.
Oh my god, tiny 10.
Well spotted, TD. Well spotted.
He's just put in chat, imagine running a spa setup around Hungary.
Well, to be fair, it's not like you're going to lose the lead in the championship.
Oh, I wasn't expecting to see that today.
I was not expecting that either. Deton pulling 2/10 while I'm in DRS and slipstream.
Ah, so it's on about Dayton. So since Dayton's got low wings.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, I can't imagine it would have been 10-10 pulling a spa setup because he was actually pulling away in the first few laps before he had to service drive-through. So there you go, you see on the screen everyone that's come in for a pit stop. And I'll just go to tyres just to show what everybody is on. John can go to the end. If there's another safety car as well... If there's another safety car, then that's just going to play even more into John's hands. In fact, he'll likely box if he doesn't lose the lead. But that puts Smiley and Flew... well, they're in the lead for now. So it's not like they're out of position, but I mean, you'd be hard pressed to argue that they're in the fight for the win. But who knows what's going to happen? I wasn't expecting 10-10 to retire, but hey. Oh, so sort of exchanges there. If there was a, hopefully there wasn't a collision from that, but it looks like the drivers have, you know, sort of made up about it, and that's it's always good to see drivers not just being proper sportsmen. If they make a mistake, they apologise just in case. And what are you laughing about?
I messaged Henton and put like drive for you got myself funny, and he just put lol. I don't know why I took my finger off, coach. Just no, to be honest. So it was an actual drive-through. He took his finger off the clutch.
Car at the end of this lap. And just like that, the safety car's in at the end of this lap. I must be psychic.
Like I say, you've got the magic ball.
I thought you had the magic ball. Well, I think Sun God said you had the magic ball initially.
We've both got the magic ball.
Yep. But like I said before, we may have the magic ball, but who knows what's going to happen after this safety car restart. The top two have it all to do. They're more or less out of position. However, they've got some advantage in terms of tyre life. And Smarty wait until the absolute last minute before he drops it. And he's dropped it as such.
Oh my God, go for it on
John could be boxed in here. He goes round, and nobody overtakes the Alpine and gets himself up into second position.
Oh my God, service, of course.
That's very, very close. In yellow's in sector 1, and that's Greg that's gone off in his car. However, John right up with Smiley, and it looks like the McLaren might be going for a move almost around down there on the outside of the end of sector 1, but not quite. And that was pretty much close to the restart that John needed. And it looks like Deflated Wheeze dropped down to 8th place, Flew down to 6th, so not the best restart for the Alpine there. Well, you can just look on the back of the scram how much more grip John has compared to the Alfa Romeo in front of him. 10 laps difference between these tyres, and here we have Wiggles behind him on mediums in 2nd place. So I have no doubt John will lose the lead at some point, because those on the mediums really need to get a move on if they want to salvage their chances of winning this Grand Prix, or by extension being on the podium. But John still with Smiley, but Wiggles crucially right behind John. These two are fighting for 2nd in the World Championship at the moment. And Wiggles will have just that little bit of extra grip compared to the McLaren. It's going to get so close going down into the first corner. John's going for the inside look. But Wiggles is going to try to overtake the pair of them. No, he's not. John goes into the lead. A little bit of a touch there between the Mercedes and the McLaren. The Alfa Romeo sticks to the inside and let Wiggles nowhere to go. And John doing absolutely what he needs to do. Little bit of contact there. You're right. And Mr. Swansmiley's gone round. Oh dear, and he already had a hard enough act to do, and now Smaller Smiley has dropped all the way to the back after that tangle with Mr. Wiggles, and I'm not quite sure how the stewards are going to look at that. Oh, but that was so close.
For me, it just looked like an unfortunate incident that has so unfortunate for Smaller.
And Deflated Wee gets his first time penalty. Is Wiggles going to go for the move? No, he's not. Joseph Hales is right on the back of him as well. You'd be hard-pressed to ask how John's going to be able to defend, as once again it's looking at the top 5 are going to be separated by next to nothing. DRS has been enabled. John has seen Mr. Wiggles coming. He goes down to the inside. He goes for the lead. And looks like Wiggles has got it. Very nice indeed. But hopefully John may be able to get a run back on him coming up through into the next corner. Joseph Hales right behind John in the McLaren. Now Wiggles is ahead. He needs to absolutely get the move on. Go like the absolute clappers to get out of the DRS. And that crucially will mean John falls behind Joseph, who won't be able to defend. And that's going to help Wiggles' cause in the championship.
That was like a Charles Leclerc move on George Russell.
It was a very Charles Leclerc move. It seemed quite late when he went through, didn't it?
It was. But it was very good.
Yellow's in Sector 2.
Cash struggling again.
Thankfully, he's not...
Hales is right in the back of John now as well.
Well, at least he's not cashing out of the race just yet.
You like Sun God.
Unlike Tim, but without the man bun.
And the big beard. He's just got a small beard.
I've got enough of a beard.
We'll go as fast as that. I wouldn't be surprised about that.
No. He's got 7/10 ahead of John though. I have to say, he's doing well to stay within DRS, but I got a feeling he may be out of it coming this lap. Kimi is up into 6th in his Ferrari. Pretty strong effort, it has to be said.
Good recovery, really, after he had that spin, but he hasn't pitted yet.
Deflated Wee's come into the pits. So he must have had damage. Yeah. Oh, Wiggles is round!
Oh, dear.
Dear, oh dear. Now, you know what I was saying about the championship? That's changed in a heartbeat.
No, in John. We'll
go on board and do a bit of a camera transition if John loses his place, which I imagine he will. I have to say, he's done well to keep to stay calm while everyone else has been making mistakes behind him. But this Wiggles is...
just a bit wide there.
Yeah, he was, you're right.
Flatbush is right on the back of him as well. Looks like he's got a good straight line speed.
He could make an overtake.
I mean, you just saw Joseph rear light start toxic, mate. So that means Joseph hasn't got a lot of VRS.
He hasn't. The AlphaTauri's going down to the inside. He's going for it.
Oh, still having a speed there.
And no, it doesn't look like he's going to go for the move there. D-Bomb's dropped to 2nd behind. That's going to help Wiggles. John will be watching this battle behind us thinking, okay guys, you just fight as much as you like. I'll just nurse my tyres till the end. Thank you very much.
Yeah, John's another look at this.
And if another safety car came out now, it's not like the cars behind him can go onto hard tyres again, because they won't get to the end after doing about 11 or so laps beforehand. Because as you know, scrub sets burn much quicker than the new set.
I've just noticed deflated pitted and he's now back on them hard 11 laps old.
That's unfortunate. But speaking of
I think he might have
unfortunate,
to pit again, to be honest.
and Slapbus goes into second. Terrible exit there from...
Oh, Jones going for it again. Doesn't have the speed.
I thought they were going to touch there. I could just imagine that Alpine just going right into the back of that AlphaTauri. Oh, he's made it stick. Lovely.
Just about around the outside.
1 down, 3 to go. And that guy drops to 15th in the Williams. Oh, it looks like Longson has had a moment.
No, Asner.
He's got damage.
He's got a right train behind him at the minute.
That is. It's almost like a trolley train, isn't it?
It was like my train in Singapore in AC1.
That must have been quite a long train.
It was.
But to be fair, I'll give him credit. Like, his pace is
Nice
steadily
race.
improved. Yeah, definitely. Let's see what's happening with the leaders. Slapbus is next, the pole sitter. But his exit wasn't particularly convincing as...
Oh! Good round.
Greg is out.
I think there were a bit of contact there. Just in that train, everyone was so close to each other. And I think he just got tapped on the rear, so that's unfortunate for Greg.
Flew and Smaller into the pits. And this will be mediums till the end.
Well, they're on that 20. This is going really quick.
This has gone quick. I think those mediums are just starting to die. Asmafrog is retired. He comes into the pits. Yep, TJ Steely thinks we have a crystal ball. Now this is the fight that we wanted. This is the closest fight on track. Another time penalty for Smaller Smiley. Asmafrog leads to session. That's a very aggressive turn in there for the AlphaTauri. McLaren knows he's coming. It's not going to potentially do a move down here, but it may be down. Lets them know he's there. Oh, and he's round!
Contact!
Oh dear, and oh,
he's into lead.
He is in the lead. So apologies for missing that, but John John's retired, and now that's going to be so close. Is the AlphaTauri going to go for a move down the inside? No, he's not. Deflated Wheat gets another time penalty. But John, it's very hard to call that one, but I have to say that was more Slapbus's fault. He took he took plenty of curb, which you're not unallowed to do, but ultimately he was kind of responsible for I would say that's more Slapbus's fault.
Yeah, I'd say so as well.
It's a shame as well, because I don't think there was any malice in what he was doing there. I think he was just trying to take advantage that he could. And another time penalty for Deflated Wee.
He ain't liking this track at the minute.
We've seen quite a few mistakes, and to be fair, I think 1010 will be liking this track a lot less. I don't think these medium runners are going to be able to get to the end, you know.
They're going to be really struggling.
They'll be struggling, but because of the lobby change, everyone's going to have
I
soft.
would watch out for punctures at this point.
Yeah, so you've got to nurse your tyres if you want to get these mediums to the end. However, I don't see it happening. I just don't. The smaller smiley.
Smaller, faster lap.
Yeah, yeah, you beat me to it there.
Too fast.
Too fast. Absolutely too fast.
Too furious.
Fast and Furious IRL drift. I think I better just stop right there. Wiggles is a 10th behind Slapboss. So Slapboss got damage. Doesn't look like he's got any damage. Unless
Actually, any significant. He might have. Oh, he's in the pits.
Yeah, so it does look like he may have picked up a little bit of damage from his contact there with John. And that's put Wiggles back into 2nd place.
Let's see what he does here. He's just changing a new set of tyres. He's got no damage.
Oh, I see.
John up to 4th.
He's got some clear air. This could work in his favour. He's just come out in front of TRC Deton, who's fighting with the Aston Martin at the moment.
Deton up to 7th. This is impressive by Deton to say he hates this track.
Yeah, this is a brilliant display from him, and like I said, he's been struggling all year. Just to see him come out with what he's got as Padge goes round in his Alfa Romeo, which is a shame. As the leaders, it's all starting to even out somewhat, but Wiggles and Joseph was in the fight for the lead. Actually, that has forced that's got to they've got to stay out now. I think they've got to stay out.
It'd be interesting to see what they do. Obviously, you're saying about the punctures. Tyres don't look extremely nice at the minute.
Oh, Kimi's round in the Ferrari.
He's still in 6th though, so that shows how much of a buffer he has.
Absolutely. Strong result. However, I think that Slapboss is now on fresh medium tyres. The top 3 are on 13 lap old mediums. John is on hards. And he's currently making up time. John gets a time penalty.
That is crucial.
Absolutely. So he's going to have to work a lot harder if he wants to win this race.
Joseph Hales is barely holding his own now at a minute.
I think
say that, and he runs wide.
I think the top 3 have got to stay out if they want any chance of a podium or to win this Grand Prix. They have absolutely got to stay out. But how can these two...
Well, Slapboss has nearly gained a 2nd on this lap on John.
He's gained a 2nd as well on the leaders, so hard pressed to say whether he's going to win. However, it really comes down to that collision with John at the end of the day.
The gap is 18 seconds, so he's got to gain 2 seconds in 10 laps.
18.5 is the fastest lap. But he's got to do faster than that.
I don't see Slapboss winning this at the minute with how big the gap is.
He will be begging not to not have a safety car right now. Deton's staying ahead. The Ferrari goes off again, and that's Colucci. But this is the fight for the lead.
Deton's still in front of Longton.
Realised they didn't have lap data on throughout the whole time.
Oh well.
He's got 17 seconds to the leaders. Might be quite touch and go because those mediums will be crying at the end of the race. To do 25 laps, there or thereabouts, and he may very well end up with a puncture. I think these two could potentially have been snookered by Slapboss's call. and another fastest lap. So qualifying laps all round is going to be very Michael Schumacher, the way
Kimmy in the
Slapbus.
pit.
Kimmy's in the pits, and I
That's
think
his first pit stop.
that's going to drop him outside of the points, sadly. But I don't think Softs will do 10 laps.
He'll be very fast now.
Yeah, let's see what tyres... He's gone on to medium, so he won't have any issues as far as tyre life is concerned. This is the Sector 2, really, that really helps those on fresher tyres. Hard to say how much tyres will be left at the end, but John's going to lose out for sure, because if it weren't for that collision, he could have easily been on potentially for a win. So it's a bit of a shame, and I think Slapbus may get a penalty for that collision. Depending on who the steward is, obviously.
I wonder. But it was closer this lap to do this.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yellow flag. Oh, I think it's Kimmy and Flew. No, it's Colucci and Flew.
So those two have had a bit of a coming together.
But Colucci's got damage now, and Flew looks like he's gone unscathed, but that isn't ideal for Colucci.
No, he's going to have to change for a new front wing, isn't he? So Kimmy, it comes out... Well, he's 13th now, Kimmy, so... He'll have the tyres, but he's got to get on with it. It comes up to lap 27 now. And Slapboss has got to find a lot more pace than this if he wants to salvage any chance of winning. Just depends on obviously what happens with the stewards if that incident with him and John is reported. This looks closer than ever, doesn't it?
It does, and got a bit of a glitch. Colucci's car is just sat in the middle of the pit lane. Oh, it's vanished now. That's good.
Six seconds now, the gap between John and Slapbus. Needs to catch him and then pull 5 seconds potentially if he gets a penalty. And that will sort him out. And that will sort him out nicely. .3 the gap now between John and Slapbus. But as everything in the lead stabilised, let's look across the rest of the field with Deaton, remarkably, holding his own in 6th place. This is a brilliant drive from him.
For me, he's driving at 8 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, considering his story so far, not much sort of luck has gone his way. He's held Longson for quite a long time, and those tyres were only on a 17 laps old, so he pitted under safety car. I agree with you.
Also up 8 places at the minute as well, so Longson having a good race as well.
I think we'll stick on board with these two at the moment. They're giving us a cracking show, aren't they?
I'll keep an eye on Wiggles and Joe this in case anything happens.
Go for it. I'll, on the stream, we'll just enjoy this nice battle here between two underdogs, really, within this tier. As you see, that guy is in 8th and half a tenth behind here. What's Longson going to do versus Deaton? He throws it down to the inside again. Goes in a little too deep. And oh no! The two have hit each other! Oh, that is such a shame. Those two were giving us an amazing battle there. And that's such a shame for Deaton, who was up until that point was having a very tidy race. It's going to be hard to call that one in the stewards room. But he would have been on for 6th place there, so it's well, commiserations to him for sure. With nearly 5 laps to go until the end, I think what we're going to do is show you the penalty board. So Cachet has 8 seconds. Deflated Wee is 9, so unless anything happens with Deton, he won't be scoring any major points. Swallow Smiley is 6 seconds, and John John has got 3. We'll go on board with Deflated, though. It's been a while since we've seen him. And the myriad of pit stops and penalties that he's had. Swallow Smiley up into 6th, passing that guy. It's Deflated Wee now up into 8th. But he's got to get an absolute move on now if he wants to salvage anything from his race. And that guy is ghosted, so yeah, I don't know whether he's lost connection or something.
Yeah, I don't. It may know what the fuck guy.
That'll help Deflated Wee if he wants to score any points. We'll see how the gap is between the leaders. Slapbus has done well to claw back 10 seconds in about 6 or so laps. However, I think you're right, TD. I don't think it's going to get any better for him. As it's not the best exit there from Joseph Hales. Wiggles not too far behind him either. And I have to be honest, like if there's one thing that EA did improve on with this game, it's the aerial shots when you're a spectator. They do look great.
Yeah, but very amazing, never helicopter shots. Oh, yellow flag. Oh,
It's Deton again. I don't believe it.
Oh, Deton.
Looks like Deton and Flu have gotten together.
Oh, Deton. What could have been for the lad?
Deton.
What could have been?
Absolutely. But let's not take anything away from how good he has been driving, to be honest. It's been very strong race by his standards as Cachet comes into the pits.
Well, I got DRS as well then.
Yeah, you're right. He's got it.
It's going to be hard for Wiggles to overtake him.
Lonson gets a 3-second penalty. Nine seconds now, the gap between Slapbus and the leaders. Decent recovery, has to be said. However, you could argue he made the wrong call.
He's in the 3 seconds now of John, but no, he ain't going to get onto the podium.
No. I think as well, D-Bomb in the Red Bull is kind of gone a little bit under the radar this race, but considering I think this is his first time with us, supremely consistent. He's only about 3.5 seconds off the lead, and I have to say, a very strong drive so far from D-Bomb.
He's at a deserving podium, I'd say.
Absolutely a deserved podium.
And the 3.4 seconds off the lead, and he qualified in P8, I think, which is a great comeback.
22 lap old medium tyres. Goodness sakes, sorry. 7.5 now the gap between Slapbus and the lead. So yeah, I don't think he's going to do it. 2.2 the gap between John and Slapbus now. It all just depends on whether he gets a penalty. As we see yellows in sector 2, that's Flu made another mistake. 3 laps to go, and it's pretty much all or nothing now between these two to see who wins this Grand Prix. I have to say, they've been locked in such a close battle between them, and Joseph Hales has resisted a lot of pressure from Wiggles, who looks like he's going to take second in the championship with this result.
Gap 7 tenths now, so Wiggles is losing a bit more time to Joseph.
Maybe he's just he didn't have the best sector 2. It didn't look necessarily the tidiest. Oh, but that wasn't the best entry into that corner either. 2 laps to go, and Hales is holding on just well enough. Blue comes into the pit and retires. Wiggles is lucky he's still in DRS. 6.1 now, the fast lap bus is away from lead. He's 1.7 now behind John. He'll be hard pushed to pass him. But I think at the time, I think there was a strong argument for at least trying something different.
Wiggles. And that could have been a win.
Yeah, that could have,
That
you're
could
right.
be a gun.
That is, yeah.
He's out of a second now, and he needs to push massively if he wants to try and get anywhere near Joseph.
It's 1.2 now. Hales is all starting to come to him.
And from what I know, this is going to be Joseph's first NA win.
It's been a long time coming, hasn't it?
It has. It really has.
We know this guy has had a lot of pace, but he also has had his fair share of mistakes, which is why if he comes across the line to take the win, it will feel incredibly rewarding, especially to the people watching. And Deflated Wee gets yet another time penalty. Yeah, John's not going to be he's going to keep 4th on track. He's not going to get ahead of Slapbus. If we go into the final lap, as the top 5 are more or less coming back together again. It's John up against D-Bomb. He's trying. You'll have the DRS. And the McLaren's going to go for a move around the outside, potentially. No need to risk this one. But it's going to be so close up to here. This is for the final spot on the podium. But Joseph Hales and Slapbus have hit each other.
As well.
Yet again. John did not need to risk that one. And that is a gift to Slapbus. The order hasn't changed. But the most chaotic thing has happened not for the first step of the podium, but for the last step of the podium. But anywho, we are going to go on board now with the race winner, who has been absolutely flawless in terms of his craft. He got through to Q1 on hard tyres, so if that was an indication of how well he'd do, I'm not sure what was. Round the final 2 corners he comes. It's been a long time coming for the Alpine driver, who's given us a thrilling show from the lead. What an absolutely phenomenal drive by Joseph Hales, who takes his first win for the No Assist Racing tier. Wiggles gets into 2nd. D-Bomb, a well-deserved podium for him in 3rd place. Slapbus making the strategy last while he could. Was a victim of a few shunts, but a well-deserved 4th place nonetheless. John, very unfortunate today. He could have won were it not for all of those time incidents. Plenty of penalties coming his way, but Small the Smiley comes across the line to take 6th place. Deflated Wee with 12 seconds worth of penalties. Sadly, is not going to score points. He's going to drop all the way behind Kimmy, I feel, as he comes across the line. That guy goes into 7th, but he won't be classified. Greg finishes 8th, 9th will be Kimmy, and Deflated Wee will be 10th. However, if that guy isn't classified, that means after all the troubles and tribulations, Deton will come across the line to pick up 10th place in his Red Bull. Now, it was a shame because he put on a brilliant drive. It could have been higher. However, if he's not going to be classified, as Padge gives us some donuts.
Nice.
Lovely. That's why we love you, Padge. That is why we love you. That was a crazy finish, wasn't it?
It was. Can't keep up with it up.
I'll say well done for keeping up with it though, mate.
I tried my best.
And here comes the winner, Joseph Hales. And it took a while, but well-deserved winner, it has to be said. Resisted all the pressure that Wiggles threw at him, and it came across the line in terrific style. D-Bomb as well, well deserved on the podium. Same for Wiggles. I think it's a very well deserved podium. I think Hale's certainly one of my candidates for driver of the day. But we'll talk about that just after the podium, shall we? So let's go through the standings for the race. We have Joseph Hales, who takes his first win for the Alpine. Wiggles is second in the Mercedes. D-Bomb third in the Red Bull. AlphaTauri is fourth, thanks to Slapbus. John fifth. It's a shame for him because he could have potentially won this race. Smaller Smiley is in sixth. That guy was on AI, so I don't think he'll be classified. So that will promote Greg up into seventh, Kimmy in eighth, Deflated Wee in ninth, and Deton would take the final points in 10th if that is the case. Padge, Cash, Longson didn't score. Flu, Colucci, Asperfrog, and 1010. Crucially, 1010, the championship leader, has retired from this race. He'll at least take some solace that his championship rivals collided with each other. However, brilliant race. So, TD, who's your driver of the day?
If Dayton hadn't finished in the points, I'd have given it to Dayton.
Yeah.
However, I feel it now has to go to the man who won the race, to the first.
I absolutely agree. Flawless drive. I think shout out definitely goes out to Deton. I think Slapbus as well also gets a shout out, as well as Mr. Wiggles. John as well, because it's a bit unfortunate what happened to him. So there we have it, guys. With driver of the day more or less taken care of. Let's just go back to the calendar. Just to show you when the next race is taking place. As you'll see on your screen, we have...
I think.
It's Mexico.
Mexico? Oh, God.
Certainly not a favourite. Definitely a little bit tricky. With 3 DRS zones and some very tricky chicanes. We go to Mexico for the next round. Round 12 of the IIRL Season 4 of No Assist Tier Championship. TD, been an absolute pleasure having you in the comment box with me once again. Hope you enjoyed this session as much as I did.
I'm out of breath. I'm off to bed now.
Leads have won. He's knackered out. Bless him. Thank you guys so much for...
I'm off to bed. I've got work tomorrow.
Oh, he's a sensible boy. To be fair, so am I. So I head off
You
for
have
work.
to be.
Yeah.
When you're working full time and you've got 12-hour shifts, you have to be sensible.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So everybody, thank you all so much for joining us for the sessions. Congratulations to everyone who scored and finished on the podium. Absolutely brilliant. So